This is the 5 Point Play Podcast, the Die Hard Duke Basketball Fans Podcast. The train just keeps rolling. The train just keeps rolling right now. Picked up another commitment this Saturday. The big man coming in, Patrick Ngongba, on a call the six. I tried. Coach. There's no
Ngongba.
way to this podcast that I'm going to be able to Knipple, I'm not going to be able to do. Big Pat, he's just going to be
You
Big
just
Pat.
did Knipple. You did it just fine.
Big Pat. But the lights are on. I choked. So we started off with a little bit of a blooper there, but here we are. What's not a blooper is the way that Jon Scheyer is recruiting right now. He's off the chains.
Mm-hmm.
He's not done yet. Coach P, obviously, this is your realm. You told us this was going to happen. You told us it was going to happen on Saturday. It did. I want you to kind of take the reins here. Talk about what this recruitment means for Duke, for Jon Scheyer, for this class, and for the future. Before we kind of dive in even deeper to, VJ potentially committing soon, where we are with Dylan Harper. Let's just focus on Big Pat right now, and just kind of talk about his game and what this commitment means for Duke.
Yeah, so the commitment with Patrick Ngongba, is a huge one, obviously, because Duke wasn't recruiting any other bigs other than Flory, who committed to Kansas, and just them being able to pry Ngongba away from Kansas State, who a lot of people thought were the perceived favorites. It's just a testament to the job that Scheyer and staff did, recruitment did, and I think it also says a lot about what Pat sees at Duke, as far as roster, potential roster, and it's not complete all the way yet, and just overall potential of what we can be, and I think he sees a spot to where he's going to play immediately. So I think it's a good decision for him. Obviously, a good decision for the coaches to recruit him. So yeah, here we are, man. I mean, we said what we said, and it happened.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch all the crystal balls start rolling in after you've already predicted what was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you're humble, Coach. So I try to say it for you. But the reality is that if you're plugged in enough to the right places, and we say something, we're not just guessing, and that's kind of like what we've tried to build our mark on AC for the last 6 years. Like if we know something to be true, then we'll say it. If we don't, then we won't. But I want to talk because you have a little bit of connections from where you are up at Pole the Six. This is now the second time that two players from Pole the Six, two teammates, will now play at Duke. Trevor Keels and Jeremy Roach, even though they were a class apart, played together at Pole the Six. Now you have Darren and Pat. I mean, just the significance of this it can't be understated.
Oh yeah, pipeline. I mean, this area up here is rich with talent, and that relationship is just going to continue as long as Glenn Farello is there at the school, which seems to be that'll be for a very long time. He gets paid very well as a high school coach to coach basketball, but he does a great job. He molds great kids. He molds winners. That's his program. That's what it's based on. They can play anything from zone to man. They can play against zone and man. They know how to play multiple positions. He really does do a great job of molding really good college basketball players and guys who, potentially could go into the pros. Like he's just a very good coach like that. And again, the talent in this area just kind of speaks for itself with that. So continuing to build that relationship up here is super important. And it's really important too that Chris Carrawell is the head recruiter on this thing. And this is a win for him. Like I think this is one of his first main recruits to get a commitment, especially with a big time recruiting battle, because Jerome Tang was the lead recruiter for Pat Ngongba with KSU. So that's a big deal for Chris Carrawell to be able to get that win, especially considering he's not looked at as one of our main recruiters. So I really like that. I really like the fact that he was able to be the head recruiter on this thing, and we were able to pull Pat.
Yeah, for sure, Jack. I think that you got to be pretty tired of putting together all kinds of graphics now. I mean, that's 5. You're going to have to put together another one.
I already have it ready.
Jack looks like that Popeyes meme where Lay's sitting in the back of the restaurant with flour all over her hands on tight.
I already got the next one ready. I'll tell you that much. Look, This is not stopping. This is going to keep rolling into 2025 and beyond. This is Duke basketball is going to have elite talent year after year. It's going to keep coming through. I mean, you look back, Duke's had a top 3 class consistently for, I think this is going to be like the 11th or 12th year in a row Duke's had a top 3 class.
Yeah.
And it's not stopping anytime soon. Like, this is insane. And, you know, a lot of guys are probably not going to be in Durham next year. They're there right now. And Shire is doing everything he can to make the roster even better. I'm just amazed.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And, AC, when we were preparing for the podcast, I try to think a little bit outside the box. John Shire has landed Cooper Flagg. He's landed Derek Lively, Derek Whitehead. He was the main recruiter for Pablo, Zion, all these guys.
The list goes on.
And so the list goes on. But, the biggest recruit that he has landed to date is Rachel Baker. I mean, that is just an absolute game changer for what Duke does NIL-wise, getting guys to come back for multiple years. Filipowski, Proctor, Mitchell, Jeremy Roach. I mean, that stuff doesn't happen unless you have just elite people around your staff, and it starts with Rachel Baker.
No, absolutely, and we're still working to try to get her on the podcast. I need her on the pod ASAP. But no, that's one of the I wanted to speak to that because I wanted to speak to Jack's point about how 2025 and beyond is going to look good for Duke. We're ahead. Duke is ahead 2 or 3 years in this whole game of NIL, general managers, everything else. And Duke as a university is like that. They're very adaptive. They're able to move forward in a space where not a lot of colleges and universities are able to do so. Coach K always prided himself on that, and that's why K and Duke were just such a match made in heaven because you had two entities that were just able to adapt so well. And John Shire is just falling right into that mold of being able to hire staff looking towards the future, players looking towards the future. You see how many backup plans he has for if something falls through. He's got another one right after that and another one right after that. He's never going to get caught. He's not going to get caught lacking. So it's amazing how that process has gone for him, especially being a first and now second year head coach. And the addition of Rachel Baker is just, that speaks volumes because now you're starting to see GMs pop up everywhere. And if it's not a GM, they call it something different. NIL coordinator, this and that, whatever they want to say. Like, call it what you want. You're doing the same thing that Duke started. And now you got to catch up and you're way behind because now she's got 2.5 years on you.
For sure. Yeah. I do want to switch gears just a hair to what this roster might look like next year. So, Coach, obviously we talked about potentially getting VJ. A lot of people thought that it was kind of and it may be, right, that it's a battle between him and Harper, or is it, mutually exclusive, or have we kind of moved on from Harper and, we think that VJ will, kind of forego some of those visits that he has lined up and, commit during the early signing period. Where do you see that recruitment right now?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. Damn, my fault. So with that, that's the funny thing about, I still stand pat on what I said about Dylan Harper. I think, he's got a tough decision to make. I do find it quite interesting though that it hasn't been many reports as far as like, John Shire going to see him or anybody from the staff going to see him. He wasn't at countdown. I think it's just in that middle phase, man, to where I think we probably are officially in limbo with Dylan Harper, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we can officially say that, he's still wanted, but I don't want to say the Duke staff has moved on, but I think now we're starting to realize that it's more of a luxury thing now to get him. We can get him. That's a luxury thing, not a necessity at this point.
G League might even be a possibility for him at this point. He has a chance. Obviously, he can sign in the late period, but I don't think he's going to sign in the early period. And the longer that goes, like we've said, it either helps Duke or it hurts Rutgers. So even if it doesn't help Duke, it's still hurting Rutgers if he hadn't signed yet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's how I definitely feel about it. And we said, like you said, we've said that from the beginning. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes, especially with VJ coming on board. You know what I'm saying? So. well, it can go either way at this point. I'm still hopeful because I really like Dylan Harper. I think he's the best point guard in that class, and I think that him on the roster would definitely significantly boost the chances of a national championship next year.
Yeah, so I mean, with that being said, Jack, I'll switch it to you. Let's say that Dylan does not come to Duke, and then we say if we have the success that we think we're going to this year, that means that possibly both Foster and McCain may opt to leave. I don't know that that is going to happen. That it's probably still too early to figure that out. I know that they were recruited with the idea of them coming back and kind of leading the team. What do you see kind of as that starting five then for next year, though?
Man, you're really gonna make me do this.
Yikes.
Oh gosh.
Crystal ball.
I don't even know who starts at the point, honestly. I mean, look, if Blake's is ready as a senior to take that role on.
I love Jalen Blakes. I hope not.
Hey, friend of the pod. Friend of the pod.
He's a friend of the pod. I'm a friend of the pod. I hope I'm not the starting point guard for Duke next year either. Like, you know what I mean?
Look. I'll be real. I think if they're both gone, either Harper's coming, which is, as we said, 50-50. We're in limbo. So that's a possibility. We got also a portal transfer point guard, not completely out of the question. Then the rest of the way, there is way too much talent coming in. I'll tell you, Cooper Flagg is definitely starting. I have no idea who else is.
I think so.
Yeah.
I have no idea who else is starting. The team's
that's
just got
the thing,
so
right?
much talent coming in.
All these pieces are so interchangeable. We got so many guards that he's bringing in. You still have a few guards on the roster. I think that Sean Stewart stands a chance to be in the starting lineup. I think if what we think happens for Christian Reeves this year happens, there's a chance he's in the starting lineup. TJ Power, another year of TJ Power as a good shooter at 6'9", has a chance to be in the starting lineup. And then everybody else, like VJ Edgecombe brings defense. Con Knipple brings elite offensive ability. I mean, Cooper Flagg obviously is going to start, like you said. Pat Ngongba is really a really good big. I don't look at him as a starter right off the bat, honestly. I don't. I look at him more as a projected down the road type of guy. But minutes can be had for him as well. But I mean, it's just, and then does one of Jared McCain or Caleb Foster come back? I think it's likely one of those two comes back. I don't think it's likely that both create NBA stock for themselves. If they do, then we're going undefeated this year, quite honestly, man. Like, I just don't see that happening, but we'll see what I mean, this season has to play out first, but it was just, once we kind of get that, I think that'll be the easiest way to shake that out.
Yeah, well, we got time to flush that out, but obviously we have to finish this class up with getting VJ. I personally think that will happen this week. I could be wrong on that, but it is the early signing period. I think that is more likely than not, but I could be wrong. Coach, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You'll tell me.
No, I mean, I don't. That's the thing is, I would tell you, but I don't think you're wrong. You know what I mean? I think we could see a situation to where VJ might even cancel the St. John's visit. You know what I mean? It's possible. You know what I mean? Because I think it's one of those things that that's kind of like the Pat Ngongba thing. I think he was locked up after Countdown. He was pretty much locked up. You know what I mean? He still took the Kansas State visit, but it was more of a out of respect type thing.
Yep.
I think we could probably see the same thing with VJ, but ultimately, I can definitely see VJ, coming on board and coming with a commitment within the week. So I'm definitely with you on there, and go fucking Duke.
That's right. And just another point to that. I mean, the St. John's visit was added super late. Like, he only had 6 visits that he had right away, and 2 of those visits have now been canceled to Florida State and Bama. So the kid's clearly done with the recruiting process. He wants to be done. He lives near New York. St. John's is not like he has to take a plane to get there. So like Pablo said, he might continue to stay on that visit. It's Rick Pitino. But again, like, what does St. John's offer you that Kentucky doesn't? Because he took that Kentucky visit last minute. And what do they offer you that Duke doesn't? I mean, quite honestly, nothing, man. It's just a hometown school. So it's like, I mean,
that's what they offer. That's different.
Yeah. I'm with Pablo. I don't see him making that visit. I really don't. We talked about on Spaces of a week and 2 weeks ago. We talked about him canceling his visits to Florida State and Bama, and it happens, right? Like we talked about that because it was already out there in the ether. And I don't think Pablo is guessing when he says that the St. John visit might not happen.
Yeah. And I don't think that, another thing too is a lot of kids from the city, New York City, that's where I'm from. So a lot of people don't want to stay there,
Right.
for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more of a distraction thing more than anything else, because obviously the city is the city and it's great, and it's home, but you got a lot of distractions out there.
Yeah.
So I can see a kid like him wanting to branch out and go elsewhere. And let's just face it, we talking about Duke here. So
He loves Duke. He loves Duke. Man.
Yeah. We are talking about Duke. This ain't no other college. So yeah, I stand pat on what I say with that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's fair. So Cooper Flag, Isaiah Evans, Con Knipple, Pat. I'm not going to try for the last name here.
Ngongba.
Darren Harris and then DJ. Jack, we've seen a lot of Twitter rumors out there, especially today. Today's Sunday. I don't know where some of this stuff is coming from. We had heard some rumors back in the summer. We've dismissed them with good reason. Just talk about some of the rumors that some of these people out there in the Twitterverse are coming out saying that Duke is going to lose, one or two of these guys. It's ridiculous, but I want you to address that if you could.
Yeah. So last year, obviously, Duke lost Mackenzie Mbako. Those reports weren't really coming out until the day he announced that he was going to reopen his recruitment. Now this is coming out now, and this is just a bunch of people trying to start a non-story. None of this is happening. This is people who just perpetuate these things for no good reason. It's not healthy for the kids. You're out here making things up about a 17-year-old kid. Come on, be better. I'm over it. It's incredibly unprofessional. And just so we're clear, as far as any of us are concerned, Duke is not losing anything. So,
and quite honestly, I feel like this class for Duke has, other than Con Knipple kind of committing out of the blue, quote unquote, out of the blue, there's not been much suspense for this to be the number one class and all the guys they've gotten. There really hasn't been much actual suspense. Like Cooper Flag was manufactured suspense. Pat Ngongba was manufactured suspense at the end, and by the time he was making visits, like it was over and people knew it. Like same thing already with VJ. Like, and we've talked about this before. Like this class is not like a market class anyway. Like there's not a lot of like transcendent superstars in this class. So like be mindful of the manufactured suspense out there, people, because especially when something's about to come down, that's when all that stuff starts. It happened with Flag, happened with Pat. It's gonna happen again now. So just be mindful of that stuff. When there's no news before, and then all of a sudden there's news.
I have no respect for someone who's making things up about a child and their decision on where to attend college. I have no respect for that.
Yeah, I think that's tough. When you have people that have platforms that just want to start rumors, just to get something going, just for a story or whatever. But the thing is that when you do things like that, there's always somebody out there that actually knows the information. Mm-hmm. So you should always be prepared to get shot down, when you just making up these lies or just making up these rumors. But, some of that stuff is just, it's not our style, frankly, at the 5 Point, podcast to really just put you out there. But just know we watching, and yeah, we know. So.
Yeah, to me, I'm with Jack. I think it's extremely embarrassing when you're throwing out, the salacious rumors about kids. I mean, this is ridiculous. At the end of the day, we're talking about high school kids. Like, it's not that important. You know what I mean? They're making the biggest decision of their lives. We're a podcast talking about basketball. Like, what are we talking about here? Why are you starting rumors that are, baseless about kids you don't even know? That's the other thing. And like Coach said, it's like a lot of these people have huge platforms, thousands of people on Twitter or on Instagram or whatever, message boards that they're running. And then for you to kind of go out there and just throw these things out there because you want to be right or you want to be first. You don't even care if you're right. You just want to be first.
Just be first.
Not when you can say that you did it, like you said it. But like how I started this segment out, all those crystal balls, they all start, rolling in after, Coach P, makes his stance known. And again, we're watching, we see it, but we're not going to be those people. So if you don't hear from us, it ain't happening.
That's why you join our Patreon. It's free.
I mean, seriously, if you want actual information, if you're actually interested in information, then follow us. We're going to tell you how it is.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, it's that simple. All right, so let's move on then to this actual season and talk about. We have 31 games in the regular season, so we're going to kind of go around the horn here. Jack, I'll start with you. Give your non-conference record. We have 11 games in the non-conference starting tomorrow night against Dartmouth. We'll preview that in the next segment, but let's go give us your non-conference record, your 20-game ACC record, go into the ACC tournament, what seed we're going to be in the NCAA, and what you think happens from there.
Okay. 11 non-conference games. I've been thinking about this for a while. I think we lose maybe one. I'm gonna go with 10-1.
Who do you think we lose to?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure because so many different things can happen, but I think we go 10-1. I think we go 10-1. I think in conference, I think we go 18-2. I think that's pretty reasonable. ACC play maybe a hangover game here. Just bad performance there, but I think Duke's far and away the best team in the ACC. I think Duke wins the ACC tournament and goes into the second week of March with a 1 seed. Look, I think Duke sweeps both postseason tournaments. I think 9-0 on top of the 28-3. So yeah, 37-3 match the 86 team, but actually bring the ring home. Why not?
Yeah, love it. For the record, obviously D's not here. He said that we would go 10-1 in the non-conference, 15-5 in conference play. But I'm pretty sure that is going to be the most losses of any of us predicting here. AC, what do you got?
Man, I'm going 11-0 non-conference. Like the toughest game, in my opinion, is going to be Arkansas at Arkansas, and I don't think Arkansas is a very good team. I think the crowd is going to be very good for them because this is a national championship for them, essentially. I don't think the key team is good enough. If we are clicking by that point, I don't think their team is good enough to match what the crowd is going to want to bring. And I think we silence that crowd eventually. I think it'll be a back and forth battle. I think you can see us going up double digits that game, and then we might lose that lead a little bit and then come back and win the game, whatever. And the crowd will still be back in it. But it's going to be an exciting game for college basketball and everything else. But Arkansas right now is being picked pretty, not low, but they're not being picked at the top of their conference already preseason. And they're not bringing a lot back, and they're not bringing in like a lot of greatness. So, and Duke is great in my opinion. They're great. I see us going 11-0 non-con. I'm going to just say a blanket 2 losses in the conference play because, as Jack said, once you get into January and February with the exams and some of the other stuff that happens, injuries and stuff, I can see 2 losses. The Monday, Saturday, or the Saturday to Monday slate that we have this year actually isn't that bad. We got 3 versions of that, but it's really not that bad. Our toughest game is going to be UNC and at Miami, quite honestly. And I kind of see those being the 2 losses at Miami and then losing to UNC at some point. But other than that, man, yeah. Give me 18-2 in conference. Give me undefeated non-con. Give me an overall of 29-2 heading into the tournaments.
And then what do you got in the tournaments? You sleeping?
We'll win the ACC. We should win the ACC tournament, right? But it's tough to win that many games in a row. If we drop one, it's going to be in the ACC tournament because I think we'll win a national championship. But I can see us getting to the championship game of the ACC tournament at the very least.
So you're not ready to call a national championship yet?
No, I said national championship.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, he's not ready to call the ACC.
This team's winning the title. What's that, Jack?
I just said you're not ready to call the ACC.
I'm not ready to call ACC championship, but we will be in that position where we only have to play 3 games in that tournament. So that's helpful.
playing in DC too, so I
I'm
assume
gonna be
you'll be
there.
there.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be there, baby. If make sure y'all come up, man. Y'all got a place to stay. Let's make this a 5-play event again, man.
Good idea. Good idea. All right, Coach. Who do you got here in the non-conference and ACC?
All right, so I'm gonna start it off with first and foremost, we winning the motherfucking national championship.
Yes,
That's just it.
sir.
So
Let's go.
that's you already know with that. But mine is really similar to what everybody said. So non-conference, I think the biggest threats to us in the non-conference is just going to be Arkansas and Michigan State. More so Michigan State than Arkansas, but Arkansas will be dangerous because of the crowd, and they do have a lot of experience on that Arkansas team. Their problem is going to be to make that all gel and the chemistry. So if we go there and knock them out early, we can win that game, and it'll be easy for us. Conference play, obviously, it doesn't matter if North Carolina has 3 players. I mean, it's always going to be a tough game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We could play 3-on-5 and they might fuck around and win or something. You know what I mean? That's just how Duke North games are. So I think we might drop one to them. I would say Virginia and Miami are other biggest threats. Everybody else in the ACC, we steamroll them. So I can say we might lose 3 games, and it may be 3 games, but no more than 3 games. I'm going with 2, but no more than 3 in the in conference play. As far as the tournament goes, the ACC tournament, yeah, I think we'll win that. We'll win that tournament. I think they should be gelling by then, and everything should be clicking on all cylinders, barring any injuries. We should be fine. So I can see a world where we pretty much run that tournament. We get to the national championship, and then we win it all.
I mean, it's very possible that this team creates what hasn't happened in college basketball in a very long time, which is you have a juggernaut team that continues to just steamroll through everything. Like it'll be very uninteresting for the college basketball world, I think, because who you think is going to win will probably win, and that's going to be Duke by the time that all comes out.
Yeah.
Well, the good news about that is that when it's Duke, it's always interesting because you just kind of get that level of hate that just continues to rise the better we are. So bring it on. In terms of non-conference for me, I think I agree with Pablo. I think that that Michigan State game, for whatever reason, I think they're going to try to play a little bit of bully ball. I think that they're going to try to make that game really ugly.
They're a tough team.
They are, and they got a lot of good athletes. I could see us somehow dropping that game, but the thing is that game's in Chicago, and I just find it hard to believe that John Shire is going to let them lose in Chicago.
Yeah,
so I want to go 10-1 here, but I can't do it. So give me 11-0 and in the non-conference. I think that we drop 3 in conference. I think we lose that game at Miami. I really do not want to pick us to lose at North Carolina, so I'll take the game before that at Virginia Tech. And then I think the last loss for this current team will be March 4th at NC State. I think that'll be the last loss that we have. We'll have already probably wrapped up the ACC. Might be a letdown. Carolina is right after that. We beat them at home. We go through DC, win the 3 games that we need to win there. And then we win the first 5 games of the NCAA tournament by double digits. And then we go into the national championship. I don't really give a shit who we play. We're cutting those nets down. So, what is that, 37-3? That's what we're going to be. I mean, again, I just, this team, and I think we have to always put the caveat, like, obviously, injuries withstanding, right? If there's a big injury, of course, all of this shit goes, through the roof. But
this team can withstand injuries, so that's the thing about this team.
Right. I mean, I think there's 2 players on this team. I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. I think there's 2 players on this team that we can't afford to lose for a big stretch. Obviously, Filipowski and Tyrese Proctor.
Yes.
Tyrese for certain. You don't lose a player like Flip and just be okay, but Mark Mitchell's good enough. You got Sean Stewart, you got TJ Power. I think John could mold the team around the other pieces if Flip went out, but you don't have an NBA level point guard on this squad like you do with Tyrese Proctor. You just don't. But fours, like stretch fours and stuff, that production can be manufactured.
It could be aggregated in theory, but I do think it would hurt regardless because that still takes out the putting him at the five and taking the big out of the paint.
Mhm.
That kind of hurts that. So
Hot
I
take.
think
So go ahead. Sorry, guys. Keep going, Jack. Keep going.
I just think I think Flip's value is more than just being a guy, like a big guy who can shoot. I think it
Oh,
it
for sure.
changes the opponent's defense so much that
Mhm.
regardless of what we have, not having him does hurt just because the defense
Always.
can sag a little bit off the big guy maybe.
I'd add Mark Mitchell to the list of people that we don't want to lose. Like
Oh yeah, we saw that last year.
Mark Mitchell's defensive ability with this team not being overall not being a superstar defensive team. I think losing Mark Mitchell would be a big loss, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, I see that.
His defensive rebounding is going to be huge for Duke this year.
Mhm.
So that was going to be actually he was going to be my pick. I wasn't even going to say Tyrese Proctor or Flip. I was going to say Flip and Mark Mitchell. Those are two that we can't lose.
Mhm.
Obviously, you don't want to lose anybody else. You don't
Right.
lose anybody in general, but just from a production standpoint and versatility, defense and rebounding, which is something that's going to be really, really huge this year because we don't have a Flip and Derek Lively down there anymore. It's going to be Flip and insert player. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So whoever that second player is, they're going to have to hit the boards hard and they're going to have
Mhm.
to play defense. So I would say Mark Mitchell is definitely a guy that we can't lose for sure. But I like the fact that I like what Jack said. Flip being more than just a big guy or whatever, and you go out and you're going to change the defense. And along with that, it's the same thing with Mark Mitchell. We got two guys down there that can both play on the perimeter. You know what I mean, and make the defense move with different things. Different concepts and different offensive things that Shire can run. So it's going to be interesting what he does. And yeah, that's how I feel about it. Go Duke.
Yes, sir.
AC, I want to get your thoughts on. Obviously, we really haven't touched on the exhibition that we watched
Mhm.
from last week because you had the Cooper stuff going on. You had Big Pat's recruitment, and now we're talking BJ and all these other things. The way that they came out of that, I almost thought was just to send a message, and it started with Tyrese Proctor.
Yeah.
Like coming out there, what was it, 5 of 8 from 3,
Right.
something like that. It was just like he just picked up right where he left off
Mhm.
and kind of sent a message like, I'm that dude.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for real. I mean, it looked like a team. It didn't look like a team that needed the game to work on anything. Like last year's exhibition, that team looked like a team that needed the practice. Like they needed that game to work on some concepts, things like that. This team went out and they were running quick hitters. They were running stuff they probably wouldn't normally run. They were taking shots that you wouldn't normally take in a game situation. However, there's shots that you can get from certain movements of the ball. So I mean, it was just it was a team that looked like they should be 50 points better than the team they were playing. Like and that's a breath of fresh air, especially considering the past few years having so many freshmen dominating starting spots. You needed those exhibition games to get them ready for the physicality, the speed, and everything else in college. Like you were running plays that you would see them run in March. This team, we didn't do much of that. We there's some things we will do in March. There's some quick hitters and things we will and shots we will get. Otherwise, it was just go out there and play. It kind of really looked like go out there and play ball, man. Like
Yeah. For sure.
with some organization.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. I think John Shire did come out there and play a little. And for the exhibitions, though, that's most teams are going to play like that. They're going to play vanilla, and they're not going to run too many different things because for scouting reasons. You know what I mean? They, other teams are going to be watching their shit, so they don't want to come out there and just run everything that they normally would run. Not to mention it's an inferior opponent, so. They're working on different things. They probably pointed out different things that he wanted different players to work on, and they probably went out there and did that. They probably worked on that game. They used it as a development thing. So
Yeah, I mean, if your other teams that are on Duke's schedule this year and you saw what you saw there, you're not going to be real happy with what you're seeing.
No,
because they're just rolling the ball out there and dropping an easy 100. Like it was nothing. I mean, if they wanted to put up 150, they probably could have.
It just reminded me of like the year Battier and them when they won the title.
Yeah.
Their two exhibition games, they put up 100 over both of those games, and one of them was like 120 or something like that. But like it looked like that. It looked like we are are severely dominant, like, and we're just going to show it. We're just going to do these things. And whereas the past couple of seasons, we've had exhibition games where we only won by single digits. We only put up 80 points, 60 points. And it was a stark contrast to those teams.
Yeah, and then Jack, before we move on to our Dartmouth, I wanted to talk about Jaron McCain. Obviously, got the start. I thought he looked, really solid. I thought Foster looked really good. To me, it kind of seems like they have those are the 6 guys. Like those are the 6 guys that are 100% getting the bulk of the minutes. And then Ryan Young is going to kind of get his minutes here and there. So I don't really count him as that 6-man role. He's going to kind of be plugged in wherever he needs to. Obviously, Reeves didn't play. I guess he was, kind of like a little tweak
Knee
of the
soreness.
knee.
Yeah, precautionary.
So precautionary. Do you see Duke actually running, more than 8 guys in some of these big games?
I mean, it depends what we see from them early season. Like Power.
We got a big game in game 2.
That's
Right.
true.
If we go
You
right
say
from
early
Dartmouth,
season, we got a big game in game 2.
All right, we
Well,
go
like,
right
you're talking
from
about
Dartmouth to Arizona to Michigan State. So, you get those kind of 3 games. So, yeah, you might see them a little bit tomorrow night. But I kind of feel like Arizona and Michigan State, unless we blow them out of the water, I think he's going to kind of stick to kind of like 8, maybe 9 with your boy Blakes.
I mean, yeah, you're telling me that like between Foster, Young, Power, Stewart, even that's 4 guys off the bench. That's 9. Like
I just
I
don't. I
think
just
all
don't
of
know that.
them.
I just don't know that Power and Stewart see a whole lot of time at the very beginning there.
I don't know. I think Stewart's gonna be a really big piece of the team. I think I'm not sure. It's gonna be interesting to see, but I don't know. I think the team goes 9 to 10 deep at least to start the year, and that does include Arizona and Michigan State. Now, how much play time they get, not sure, but I'm sure that they're gonna get a little run.
I think we got 7. I think seven, maybe 8 players get double-digit minutes. I think other people get spot minutes here and there. I think Sean Stewart's going to get some like 5 to 7 of those jumping jack minutes you see every now and again, where just go out and be athletic and make plays. I think you'll see. I don't know that TJ Power is going to get in early, especially because you got Tyrese Proctor who's able to shoot the 3. Filipowski's able to shoot the 3. Jamie Roach is able to shoot the 3. That's TJ Power's role. So I think that's something that's going to have to develop through the season. In terms of everybody else, I think Jalen Blakes will get defensive minutes on the floor. I just don't think it's above double digits. But the 6 you mentioned, Foster, McCain, Roach, Proctor, Flip, and Mitchell are the bulk of the team. They are going to get the lion's share of the minutes. They will be our double-digit guys, and then anybody else is going to be gravy. Ryan Young and Christian Reeves are going to split minutes against Arizona. They're a big team, and we're going to need big bodies against that squad. And at times, but I think that we'll get to that preview later in the week. But I think John's going to have to play that game faster because Arizona, as Coach Paulo mentioned on Spaces, Arizona is a fast-playing team, so we're going to have to play that game with some guards and kind of use that as our advantage because I don't think we have the interior advantage against that team. So why would you match up against their interior? We need to find a way to create an advantage against them. So. I think you could see in the box score 9 or 10 guys have played the game, but only about 6 or 7 will have double-digit minutes.
Yeah, Coach, do you see anything different there? You see, I'm kind of with AC on that, especially that first tough slate of games. But then once we kind of get into that weaker non-conference, I think that's when he'll try to get some of those other guys bigger minutes.
Yeah, I can see a world where we go about 7, 8 deep when it really counts. In the beginning, when we playing more inferior teams, lesser teams, I should say, I think we'll see, it probably blow out. So these guys will probably get, like the Sean Stewarts, the Jaden Shoots, they'll probably get their fair share of minutes. But I think later on in the season, when we start to play the bulk of the good teams in our season, I think it probably will cut to about 7 or 8, and that'll probably be Foster, Young, and man, I'm really hoping it's Reeves, but I can see it probably will be I don't know. It might be Sean Stewart, man. It might be Sean Stewart is getting those minutes. So, but again, we'll have to see what happens. And I think it's all going to be situational as well. Depending on who we're playing. Like AC said, Arizona's bigger team. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? What happens, but they like to play fast. Their big guy, Ballo, is not. When they play fast and he's in the game, they don't generally do that well because he's not the fastest player. So that's an advantage for us. And I think guard wise, we got the advantage in that game. So we're just gonna have to see, man. Like, it's gonna be interesting what Shire does. He's gonna have to tinker with the lineups and play around a little bit with that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Let me just say real quick. I think it's important that Christian Reeves didn't play in that exhibition. I think with knee soreness, I think you could see John, if he wasn't going to play the season, I think you'd see John shoehorn in a couple minutes for him just so he can say he was on the floor. The fact that he didn't play, like if Kyle Filipowski had hip soreness after surgery, he would not have played that game. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he's Kyle Filipowski. I think that John has plans for Christian Reeves. And the fact that he needs him healthy is the reason why he set him out.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree with that point. That was a great point, AC. He definitely has future plans for him. And I think that Reeves is going to help us in the season. So we're going to need him healthy. And, we'll just move forward with a healthy team.
All right, let's get to our prediction for the first game of the season. And I'm pumped. AC, I know you're AC, I know you're a huge Dartmouth Big Green guy. You watch all their games. Tell us about the Big Green. They are the Big Green, right?
They are the Big Green. They used to be the Indians, and they had to change it back in the day. They're not a great team. They're one of those teams. They were a little bit younger last year, and you could tell that they could make a little bit of noise in the Ivy League, but they're still being picked 7th in the Ivy this year. They do return a lot of guys from last year's season. They got a kid, Mitchell Day, who's really good. Hold on, I had the list actually because I was looking this up a little bit about them. Ryan Cornish is a good 3-point shooter. So is Dusan Neskovic, and he's like a big guard that can kind of he's one of those pesky like Serbian guards that just gets to the basket all the time, plays the borderline dirty, like all that type of stuff. So he's gonna create a couple little issues here and there. And then they do have a kid who's a legitimate prospect named Brandon Mitchell Day. I think he's about 6'8" or so. Plays inside and out. He's got really good footwork in the post. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's an all-court player. He's one of those guys you would have seen Coach K in the press conference point him out as being a kid that he could see, making noise down the road in the pros or whatever. Not noise, but just at least making a roster or something. He's a good player, man. He really is. He's a good player. He's a kid with the goggles, and you're looking for him. But like I said, they play zone. Dave McLaughlin plays a lot of zone. They play like amoeba zone, so they'll play 1-2-2. 2-1-2, 2-3, 3-2, and they'll switch it based on the matchup. So I don't see them playing a lot of man against us. I see them trying to slow us down probably with their zone, especially early on in the season. I don't see it being a particularly high-scoring game because of that, but it'll be a good test to see us shooting the ball against the zone and seeing if we can work the middle against the zone. So give me Duke 95 because I think we could I think if they play man, we could put over 100 on them. But give me you know what I mean? Like I said,
what you just said it was going to be a low scoring.
It wouldn't be a particularly high scoring game.
For an Ivy opponent, 95 is low for Duke.
It kind of is. You know what I mean? All right, I will give me 90 Duke, give me 62 Dartmouth, and I think that's generous giving them 62 points.
Jack, what do you think?
I mean, I've been thinking, I don't know, man. 87-61 seems like a reasonable score. I don't think that the starters play more than 20 to 25 minutes for Duke. I think we're going to see a lot of kind of in the same vein as the exhibition game, a lot of like practicing things against a zone because Duke's going to see a bunch of zone from certain opponents this year. So just kind of getting that practice through and getting some of the guys lower in the rotation and toward the back of the bench some run. So I don't think it's going to be one of those super duper high scoring games for Duke. I think 87-61 and it gets them on track for the game on Friday.
Yeah, Coach P, what do you got?
I think we completely kicked their ass. Score wise, I think we win by 30 easily. Like AC said, and Jack, they play a lot of zone and that's cool. But ultimately, we have the size on them. We'll overwhelm them pretty quickly, and we'll come out there with a win. I don't know exact score. I can't. I don't know. I say 80-49.
Get him.
Yeah, 80-49.
Get him.
Yeah, you see, when you started talking about how much zone they're going to play, I just started shaking my head because we have the shooters. I think it's going to get real ugly real quick if you're playing zone against this team. So
Now let Jaden loose. Let Jaden loose.
Bonus content: Jared McCain leading scorer.
Wow. Okay. It's possible. I mean, he's going to get open looks.
Just because of the
that
zone.
is for sure.
Jared
Yeah.
McCain leading scorer.
I still think it'll be Tyrese Proctor. I think he comes out shooting hot right from the beginning. I think it'll be a 92-58. I think we blew the doors off pretty quick. And yeah, I think Shoot could come out there and knock down a couple threes in that game very easily. But hey, look, I'm just happy. Regular season, it is here finally. We waited so long for this. The recruiting's been hot as fire. Now it's time to watch the team on the floor. I'm just pumped for this. Like, let's just get this thing done. The game, for whatever reason, not until 9 o'clock tomorrow night. That's way too late for the first game of the year. Like, I'm ready to play this game right now. But here we are, game one. D will be back for our next podcast later this week. We'll preview Arizona.
Got a big one.
Let's go, Duke.
Let's go, Duke.
Let's go, Duke.
Make sure you guys check us out on Twitter, Instagram, 5 Point Play Podcast, and on Patreon. Sign up. It's free. It's free. It's free. It's free. It's free.